Good morning and welcome to today's Monday Morning Mobility. I'm Jeff Blanchard and I'm back to offer you a little help from a physical therapist perspective. My goal here is to help you improve your quality of life by teaching you how to move, to help you decrease your pain and improve your ability to get around and move. So today's topic is stop stretching. So you might be a little bit confused by that topic, stop stretching. You might be thinking, I thought it was an important thing to stretch. Shouldn't I be stretching on a regular basis? Shouldn't I be doing yoga on a regular basis? So let me just explain what I mean by stop stretching. I actually think that stretching is a good thing. And there are plenty of times where I teach patients that they should stretch. However, not everybody should stretch. There are certain people who are very flexible people. And there are certain people who are very stiff people. So there's a spectrum of soft tissue mobility. I happen to be on the stiffer end of the mobility spectrum, so I am one who should be doing regular stretching. I saw somebody just yesterday who was on the opposite extreme of the spectrum. They had a lot of mobility through their body. You can be all the way to the very extreme where there's a condition called Ehlers-Danlos, which is your soft tissue is so loose that things just kind of slip and slide too much. You can spontaneously dislocate, a shoulder can slide out, or a kneecap can slide out. These individuals should not be stretching. Unfortunately, what people tend to do though is when they have pain, they assume that if I were to stretch the painful area, it will make me feel better. So here's the prime example. Back pain. People tend to get pain into their glute or the back of their hip when they have back pain. The back oftentimes will create symptoms that are further down the chain. In the glute, in the leg, further down. And so people start trying to stretch the area. So they'll get into these positions where they try to stretch the glute to try to make it feel better. And sometimes it will actually give them some temporary relief. So here's the scenario. Let's say that there's a problem at the spine, and that problem is creating a signal and the signal is being sent to the muscles of your hip. And that signal is tighten the muscles in the hip. So that's coming from the back. So let's say the brain is helping facilitate that signal because the brain is going, okay, I'm detecting there's some instability down here somewhere. And it's actually in the spine. So the brain goes, tighten the muscles. So the muscles kind of tighten up. That creates more pain. So then you go, okay, I know how to take care of that. I can just stretch that tight area out. So you're trying to stretch the muscles that the brain is trying to tighten in order to create stability in your system. Well, what happens if you do that? Then the brain realizes that muscles are getting stretched and that the brain wants to be tight to try to create stability. So then the brain again sends the signal, tighten the muscles even more. And so those muscles tighten right back down again. Well, then we're back to the same problem. And then you go back and stretch again. So I'll see people who come in and they've been doing this for months of time. So then when I'm, say, checking out their flexibility, I find that actually the side that they've been stretching is too flexible. And as you stretch and overstretch, the muscles tend to get weaker. And so then I find that there's more weakness. Well, guess what? More weakness compounds the problem of instability, where the brain was trying to create stability. So now we're making the problem even worse. So the best case scenario in this situation is we try to get to the root of the issue and try to create more stability in the system and improve the strength. And as we improve the strength of the system, then the tightness in the hip starts to relax. So it's interesting to think about a situation where something feels tight and you can actually get it to feel better and feel looser by strengthening. Now, I don't expect people out there to know if they should be stretching or if they should be strengthening. This is a reason to go see your physical therapist, because they would be able to go through and look at things and be able to tell, okay, so there's too much motion here, or there's not enough motion over here. So we need to strengthen this area, stabilize the area that's moving too much, or over here, this area actually is in fact too tight. The muscles are short. We need to work on stretching this area and opening some things up. Another example is the neck. And I see this all the time. People have this chronic neck pain. It's say right back into this area. And so they're like, oh, my neck's always tight. And so they're doing this and they're pulling on their head and they're trying to stretch it out and they're grabbing stuff and pulling on their head. Well, then that just makes the situation worse. So the reason why some of these muscles in the back of the neck can be just chronically tight, we go back to some of the posture things we've talked about on past Monday morning mobilities. So let's say you're here and you're in this posture. All right, so if you're in this posture, your head is constantly out here pulling on the muscles back behind your head and into your shoulder blade. So those muscles are actually being stretched by the position of your head, and as they're getting stretched, they're getting weaker. But that pain tends to create this idea in our minds, I need to stretch. I need to stretch that area out because it feels tight. Well, it's tight because it is being stretched by your positioning, by your posture. So how much sense does it make to try to stretch something that feels tight because it is being overly stretched? It doesn't make any sense at all. So again, people end up stretching these areas. Then they come in feeling worse, and they've been dealing with pain for years, oftentimes. And they're like, I've been stretching, and it just doesn't seem to help. Well, the reason is because it's been making it worse. So please, don't stretch an area that is painful if you don't know that that area actually is shortened muscle that does need to open up. Oftentimes, shortened muscle that is tight isn't painful. It's just tight. And so it doesn't create some of the painful scenarios that would bring you in to see a physical therapist. It's much more common to see a PT when something is too loose, too weak, and then it becomes painful. Don't stretch those things. If you're confused by what you should be doing, then come in and see a physical therapist for an issue that you're having. Otherwise, if you want to do just general stretching for your body, say doing yoga or something like that, that's general stretching, that typically is a great thing to be doing to maintain your mobility. You want to maintain mobility and adequate flexibility, but you want to stay in the middle of that, strength, flexibility continuum. You want to be roughly here. You don't want to be too flexible because that is pain. But you don't want to be too tight because that can create problems as well. So if you have further questions about this and if this pertains to you, please come in and see us and we can help you get to the bottom of where you are on that spectrum and why you might be having the pain that you're having. So thank you again for joining me for this episode of Monday Morning Mobility. If you enjoyed the episode today, please share it with a friend. Leave us a review. If you have a topic you'd like to hear about, please let me know. Until next time, keep moving because motion is lotion.